Alright, today's video. My favorite knife brands to my least favorite, and a bonus knife. We'll do the bonus one first. And that's just because that knife has a lot of sentimental value to me, and that would be this here Sheffield. As you can see, it's kind of falling apart, whatnot, but for an inexpensive knife, these are like around $10 at a hardware store. They hold a pretty good edge, but the reason why this knife is special to me is because it was the last Christmas present my grandpa ever gave me before he passed away. So it's like I said, not an expensive knife, not a really great knife, but more sentimental. I wish I could get replacement parts so I could fix it, but I've looked online. Perhaps I didn't look at the right places, but I couldn't find anything. So anyways, I've got this Sheffield. It's got the liner lock. Alright. Now to start off the actual list, we will go with Cold Steel. And these are brands that I've used personally and own personally. So I won't be covering anything that I haven't really used a whole lot or don't own because, well, I can't really form an honest opinion about it. But Cold Steel would have to be my favorite brand because they've got good edge grinds on them. They're fairly light. They hold an edge really good, especially this little booger. You see, it's definitely a well-used knife. And I love that clicking sound when it shuts. Okay, Cold Steel. My next favorite knife would be Columbia River Knife and Tool, or CRKT for short. They kind of use a 813 MO or 8CR MOV 13, I think, is what blade steel they're using. If I'm wrong, somebody can correct me, but some of these, they don't have the blade steel on them, so I just try to remember off the top of my head. But Columbia River, they've got pretty good edge grinds, and they've got a lot of really cool designs. I want to get one of their breakdown knives. Can't remember what they're calling it off the top of my head, but I can give you an example like the home front. That's a pretty cool blade. This one you have to take apart with the tools and stuff. It's not one of those. I need to probably lube this one, but Columbia River be my second favorite because they're, for the price, they're really good quality, and they've got a really nice selection. And Cold Steel has a good selection too. They probably have something for everybody. I've got a Cold Steel Norman sword, and y'all haven't seen a video on that yet, but I will when I get around to it. So anyways, Columbia River, my second favorite brand of knives. My third favorite would be Bocker. And this knife belonged to my grandpa on my other side, and I didn't And when my grandma passed away, I ended up with this one. So it's already had the broken blade. And I don't know if I can get the blade replaced. Maybe I'll be lucky one of these days and Boker will see my video and give me a replacement blade. Fix my knife for me. It was something I got from my grandparents, so it's a sentimental thing. But as far as edge retention, it's a high carbon edge. I think this knife is a 74. I think 74. You can on their website they have a picture of their tree, so you can always go and look at that tree if you remember what it looks like, and they'll tell you what year it was made, which is pretty cool. As Boker USA. I think. But anyways, we will put Boker at number 3. Number 4, we have Case. Now, most of Case knives, they got a decent edge grind. Not the best, but decent. And I'm kind of particular on the way my edge grinds are. One reason is because I sharpen with stones, and then you can see who has more flaws and whatnot on what blade when you sharpen it that way. In case most of their edge grinds are pretty good, but this thing I took out and cut a few tree branches with it, small ones. It's probably maybe about as big as this finger here, the ring finger. And this butt cap is already loosened up on me, so I'm kind of disappointed with that. That's why I put it as 4 on my list, which is still pretty high. I mean, I like Case, they're good knives. And I do plan to buy some more, because I got the small ones that you can fit in your watch pocket, and I want to get more of a collection of the watch pocket knives, is what I'm calling them. In Case, they've old classic looking knife, most of their stuff. And they've got a decent selection. It's cool you can get the pocket knives with a whole bunch of different blades like that Boker. But so at number 4 we have Case. Number 5. This is kind of a cheap knife, like $20, $19.99 or something like that. Bought at Ace Hardware. This is Steel Warrior. Oh. It's got a pretty cool emblem on it. You see that little samurai sword. It says Steel Warrior. The fit and finish is decent. I've seen worse. I've seen better. The blade grind is okay, but you can kind of see where they did misgrind it. Right there where my thumb is. But I only paid $20 for it, so I don't expect a perfect grind like I would on a higher dollar knife, or better grinds. If I spend over $100 on the knife, I want it to have a pretty decent grind on it. So Steel Warrior at number 5. Number 6, we will put buck. Most of them use a 440 steel, I think 440 HC. This is an older buck. This belonged to my grandpa on my dad's side. The other one was a grandpa on my mom's side, the Sheffield. And I got this knife after he passed away, so it's another one that has sentimental value. But as far as a knife, that buck makes a good knife for the price. I like buck. I mean, there's some things I don't like because they don't have that little notch there for sharpening, which I really like for stones. That way you don't have to try and get all the way up to get the edge, because it's a little harder to get that back part on stones without nicking your stone on this and messing your stone up a little. But I can get a file if I want, like a diamond file or a small round one, and just carve one out of there. It ain't no big deal. Or just not sharpen it back to there. It'll leave about a couple millimeters, probably 3 millimeters. It wouldn't really get sharpened, or about a 1/8 of an inch, I think. And the tip was broke off when I got it. And so we will put buck at number 6. Let's go number 7. We've got barnds. Now the edge on this, I bought this because I wanted to shave with a straight razor. Well, if you want to shave with a straight razor, don't get a barnds $50 straight razor. But it does hold a pretty good edge, so it will sharpen up. I tried taping or gluing some cardboard match things so I could try and hold the angle and actually sharpen it properly, but it's just taking too long, so I'm just gonna... It's got a pretty good edge on it, so... And they've got numerous knives to choose from too. Really, it feels nice in the hand, but it's more of just a normal pocket knife type dilly. So bocker at 7. 8. Number 8, lower on the list because they're not really a preferred brand for me. Not something I would buy personally, but I have before in the past, so... But now I'm more of, I'd like to spend a little money and get something that's quality instead of something that's not as good. But really, if all you can afford is a Gerber or something, I mean, there are some expensive Gerbers out there. And I have heard about the strong arm and stuff, seen videos about the strong arm and some of their more expensive stuff. I've never personally owned any. And this one here, it does put a decent edge on it. And it'll hold an edge for a while. But what I don't like about some of these cheaper knives, if you can see there, you got that starboard in there. And you turn around on this other part of the pivot. And you need a bit to put that in. So I don't like that about these knives. but Gerber does make some decent stuff, and they're not total junk. But their Chinese stuff is what you want to avoid. So if you do get Gerber, get American made. Spend the extra money. Get something that you'll be able to put a halfway decent edge on, and they'll hold an edge. So we've got Gerber at 7. 8. We've got Winchester, which I'm not really too impressed with these Winchester knives. They're light. And this one here is pretty comfortable in the hand. You know, they're kind of an interesting little design knife. But of course it's just marked stainless, so it's more of an unknown still. It'd probably say on their website, I haven't checked, but they're just, a lot of, from what I've noticed from Winchester, they look like they're more of a collectible knife. So if you're into collectible knives, Winchester is a good knife to get. But if you're in for a usable knife, these edges won't really hold up to much. You can put an edge on them, but they don't stay sharp. So that is number 9, Winchester. And then Smith & Wesson Extreme Ops. I've been trying to put an edge on this thing, grind it with my 220 grit, and it seems then go down to the levels, and it seems like every time I go down to the finer grits and actually get it to apex, it just goes dull right after I get it to apex and knock the burr off of both sides. And it seems, yeah, it's I don't know if they just did a real crappy heat job or whatnot. I mean, it doesn't even tell you what the type of steel is. And it's not really that comfortable to hold in your hand, so I'm not going to really say any more about it other than I don't really think that they're that great of a brand. So there you have it, my favorite knives from best to worst, and the bonus knife, which is a sentimental item for me. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this. Have a nice day. Take care. If I don't make a video between now and Christmas and New Year's, Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. I'll get it right eventually, maybe. Take care, everyone. Bye.